Privilege, smivillage. First off, I want to start this video by saying the drawing in this video is brought to you by my friend Maddie, aka Trail Canvas. She absolutely loves coffee. We were talking about her love for coffee last night, and I had nothing else to draw, but coffee seemed to be the answer. Also, when you watch the next sketchbook tour, you will realize how much she matters when it comes to my current art progress and inspiration. Anyway, the main topic of this video is about privilege. This video is not focused on racial privilege, but a general topic of privilege from a middle-class American. Now, I am a neurodivergent Black woman in the South. Now, when some people hear that, they may feel sorry for me. They may recognize the odds are stacked against me from society's standards. However, I understand that I am more than that, and I still have a massive amount of privilege. I can say I am only here because of my community and the sacrifices they have made, and by the grace of God. Even though I am independently broke, I still have family who is able to help me out from time to time. I am not bringing this up to say I am better than everyone or anyone. I am stating that I am very privileged, and it would be very wrong to act like I am not. It would be very wrong if I portrayed my way of living is the norm for everyone else. It would also be very wrong to hold people to a standard that my community couldn't meet due to extraneous factors, if that makes sense. Like, how can I say, oh, just go to college, get a job, and finances will be fine, or you'll be a billionaire in no time, when I have seen firsthand that that is not the case, or I have myself experienced that that is not the case. There is no guarantee that a person who does all the right things according to society standards will have an easygoing life or will be living their life on a yacht. Not everyone's life is the same. What applies to you may not apply to someone else, and vice versa. Like, maybe you are able to find a job and work your way up into being the manager or the owner of the company. Congratulations. However, you may have only been able to do this due to connections or due to non-existent difficult factors. This is not me saying that you have in no way worked for what you have earned. This is not me saying that you haven't had difficult circumstances. This is just me saying that there may be people who have been in more difficult circumstances that you are, who are unable to do it. Like, you may not be able to work your way into being a manager when the employer hates you, when you don't have the time to manage people because you're a single mom and you don't want to take away any less time you have from your family. You may not be able to work your way up if people don't like you for stupid reasons. You may not be able to work your way up due to disabilities. There could be a million reasons why. Also, I just want to point out that just because someone isn't a manager or isn't driving a Lamborghini, it doesn't mean that their life is terrible. It doesn't mean that their needs aren't being satisfied. Not everyone wants to be rich or a manager. Not everyone wants to own a small business. Also, with the topic of privilege, not everyone is able to own a small business. There's definitely a rise on social media of people saying, just quit your 9-to-5 and start your own business. It's kind of hard to do that when there's a huge level of uncertainty, the bills are racking up, and you have no one to support you in the short term or long term. For example, it's hard to start an artist's small business when there is not many markets where you live. It's hard when you can't stop to create art because you are the primary caregiver of 3 kids and you have to help out with your elderly parents. I also noticed a lot of people on social media have the mantra that if you just work hard, the rest will follow, or if I can do it, you can too. However, I'm coming to understand that that is a very privileged state to have. Some people have worked very hard for their job or small business and are just now seeing a small amount of payoff after several months. Now, at the beginning of the video, I mentioned I am neurodivergent. Through my school, I was able to get free counseling, another great privilege that I have. Do I struggle with my mental health? Of course. Has my mental disabilities impacted me? Absolutely. Have I been through some hard, terrible times due to my mental health? Yes. However, I am still able to go to class, go to work, and stand on my feet for long periods of time. I am able to take a mental health day and not face potential consequences for it. I was also able to get properly diagnosed and medicated. There's a lot of people who may have mental disorders but are unable to afford therapy and medication. It's hard to get help when everyone is telling you that you don't need it and you need to get over it. It is also hard to get help for your mental health when your family is dependent on you to help them with their health and their well-being. The reason I want to bring up the topic of privilege is I want to make sure I check my own. I also don't want to be more hypocritical to myself. Like, I don't want to keep telling people that, hey, you have these very real extenuous circumstances, which is why you are unable to meet your goal, while at the same time believing that if I just work hard, it will be enough. I don't think it's fair to anyone or to myself to not hold myself to the same standards I hold other people to. Like, how can I tell or teach someone about giving themselves grace when I want to punish myself for saying no or making mistakes? Obviously, I know stuff like that happens and there is nuance, but I want to practice what I preach. I also want to check my privilege because my ultimate dream goal is to help my fellow artistic peers. I want to own a boutique with an art gallery attached to it, an art gallery that houses my art and the art of other artists in the community. With wanting to lift people up or help someone, I have to come to terms with that it's a possibility they're not going to want my help. I also have to understand why they may not want my help. I hope that makes sense. I'm not sure if it does. But I just want to say, if I want to help people, I know I have to check my privilege. If I don't check my privilege, I can come off as unempathetic and very condescending. This video is not to discredit any work I or anyone else has done. I just understand that I was able to make certain decisions and go certain places because of the privilege I have. When I was younger, I thought I could move out by 18. However, I am 21, about to turn 22, and I still live with my parents when I'm not in my college dorm. I also don't have a car. Yes, I have to Uber with places when I'm at college with a limited amount of income. Yes, I had a job as a senior in high school to sophomore year in college. I had to help my family out at times, but I definitely should have saved more money and made better financial decisions, which is why I'm kind of in the financial rut I'm in. But again, despite that, I have the privilege of being able to stay with a family that cares, a family who even helps me with markets. I have faced hardships, but some of those hardships, inflicted or not, have been lessened due to privilege, and I need to recognize that in order to grow as a human being and to remain humble. Even despite the problems going on in the U.S., I am still able to go to sleep in my dorm room, with the hope of waking up or knowing I will wake up. And not a lot of people get to do that. I still know that, hey, even though I don't know what I'm going to eat for dinner, at least I know I will have dinner. At least I know I'm able to secure food in some type of shape or form. With the topic of privilege, I want to be careful not to lean too much in somebody has it worse than you do. I definitely think that sentiment has its place. However, I don't want that sentiment to invalidate every time someone feels upset, because it can lead to someone oppressing their emotions and potentially letting their anger out on people and just act out in very hurtful ways. Like, yes, there are people in worse situations, but that doesn't mean the situation wasn't hurtful. Like, yes, someone would kill to be in your shoes. However, just because, like, for example, you could say, like, let's just say a partner cheated on you. A partner that you care deeply about, that you were with for a long time, cheated on you. Like, yes, a homeless person or someone who doesn't have money, who doesn't have family, who doesn't have any support, would love to be in a position where they have a home, where they have a job. However, that doesn't mean they want to be in a situation where they're cheated on either. I hope that makes any type of sense. And I also don't want to say that people who are homeless, I also want to state that people who are homeless shouldn't be treated as less than human. and understand that, yeah, they just shouldn't be treated as less than human. And also, like, again, even though that, what am I trying to say? I guess I'm trying to say, the whole sentiment of beggars can't be choosers. Like, yes, a homeless person wants a family, may want a family, may want a job, may want a job, may want a healthy income. However, that doesn't mean they want to be in a toxic work environment. That doesn't mean they want to be in a place where they're just constantly getting beats it on in every way. And I'm hoping that take doesn't come off as rude or mean in any way. I understand that I still have a privileged stance, and I apologize if that offends anyone in any way, what I have said. But anyways, I think it's all about balance. I forgot to mention it, but I realized as I was writing it out, but with me being neurodivergent, I have to take meds to help lessen the effects of my depressive episodes. My depressive episodes can last for a day or even longer. Sometimes my disorder causes me to go a full day without any sleep. Taking those challenges and many more into account, I'm still able to, quote unquote, mask when I need to. And I need to understand that not everyone is able to do that or necessarily should do that. Like, I'm able to get into jobs or enter into spaces that other people may not be able to enter to. And I need to understand that in order to use my platform, I need to understand that in order to use my platform or any type of privilege I have for good. Without recognizing that I can do more harm than good, I can become complicit in hurtful systems. A little disclaimer, just because you have privileges that other people don't, doesn't make you better in any way. Like, for example, I had got a 25 on the ACT. It's a national test that can help you get into college and secure scholarships here in America. I set that disclaimer for people who may not be in America or have even heard of the ACT. Anyways, however, with that, also with the ACT, like, the highest you can get is like a 30 something. So a 25 is pretty good. However, even though that was a good score and I was able to get a scholarship for it, I was only able to get a score because I was able to go to workshops, because I had the opportunity to take the test multiple times, because I had people in my corner giving me advice and giving me tips. Let's say, for example, my friend Sarah is unable to take the SAT or go to college due to family commitments or jobs or any other circumstances. That score and that privilege that I have does not mean that I am smarter than Sarah, and it doesn't make me better in any way. It doesn't make me better that I am able to attend college. I hope that was a good visual example. I apologize if it is not. I also apologize for any take or opinions that may be misinformed. My takes and opinions come from hearing other people's perspectives and my experiences. I know that not everyone thinks how I do, and I don't want to lose someone on a topic because I misspoke or pretended I was a know-it-all. Yeah, just want to reiterate, just because you have other privileges does not make you a better human being than someone else, the next person. Most of the wisdom I have obtained have been from people who have came from different walks of life from me. That in itself is a privilege to have. To have that wisdom to make different choices that makes life less hard for me in a way. I don't know why it's so hard for me to talk. I'm trying to say everything I want to say. Checking your privilege is not saying you have never suffered or haven't worked for what you have earned. Checking your privilege is saying, hey, there are some people who can't relate to my life. Checking it is saying that, hey, my advice may not be suitable for all people. Checking it is saying my advice is biased and I can be wrong. There's a quote from The Guardian article about checking your privilege, and I really resonated with it. The article is by Gabby Hensel. I know I'm saying that wrong, and usually I can say it right, probably say it right. It's just the fact that I'm recording, So my anxiety is on 10 when it comes to trying to say things right. But anyway, Gabby Hensliff. And came out in 2017, which I still can't believe that's 8 years ago. Anyway, but the author of the article said, "We rather see ourselves as the deserving guys, the ones who made it against the odds, and so we dwell lovingly on the ways in which were disadvantaged, because most can tick at least one of those boxes too." I agree. A lot of people like to see themselves as the underdog. I know privilege is not an easy topic to talk about, and I know it can make some people feel icky or uncomfortable. However, in my opinion, I think the one thing that can make you stay truly humble is acknowledging your privilege. If you truly are humble as you say you are, or you want to be more humble, please check your privilege. Again, I know that's not an easy thing to do. Checking your privilege is a lifelong process, and it's something you have to do on a daily basis. I also believe checking your privilege can make you a better ally, better friend, and overall a better person. It can lead to practices that are less discriminatory and less bullying. Again, by not checking your privilege, you can be complicit in hurtful practices. I also believe checking your privilege is saying my take may be biased, or my take is not necessarily needed for this type of conversation. I don't believe I've said the word privilege as much as I have right now. And I know I've mentioned it a lot of times, and I know I have thrown a lot of information in this video. However, I hope the point gets across, even in the repetition and the whole messing up what I want to say. But yes, please, or at least try to consider the ways that you are privileged and how you can use that to amplify other voices, amplify other people around you who may not be able to do that in certain spaces. Also, me stating that I have privilege or that other people may have privilege in certain areas does not negate the hard work that they have done or the experiences, the hardships they have went through. So initially I was going to leave the background of this picture, this greenish color, but after looking at it for far away and taking multiple pictures, I realized I didn't like it, so I changed it to the darker brown. Anyway, thank you. That is all I have to say on the topic of privilege. I already said this, but I just wanted to be reinstated. I can be wrong. I'm speaking from my experiences. I am not perfect. I still have a lot of learning to do as a 21-year-old. But anyway, thank you for listening to me ramble about the topic of privilege. Please let me know in your comments below how you felt about your own privilege or when you realized you had to check your privilege. Thank you for watching this video. Again, just have a good day, have a good night, have a good morning. Bye.